In this lecture, we will talk about how to read the text from an image using Einstein OCR API. We have talked about the JWT authentication into the previous lecture. We've got the access token. Now we are going to use that access token to extract the text from the image. So let's quickly see the API first, and then we'll talk about how we can use that. So this is the API that we are going to use, which we talked about Einstein OCR, which is Einstein Optical Character Recognition. And in this document, you can find everything about what it does take and what are the various things that it takes. So if you have seen here, it is taking model ID, which are very uh, important, we can say very important parameters of our API call. OCR model is having a contact, and then it is having a text. So contact is, we use contact whenever we are trying to read the business card, and we use a text whenever we are trying to read any kind of image where is some unformatted data. Unformatted data means we don't know what kind of data is there, but we just wanted to read. And then there is tabulate version 2, which is sending table as a OCR model. The reason for that is if you have some sort of data into the tabular form inside an image, you can read that data as well. So that is why this API is very important for any kind of business who are dealing with the multiple images or multiple cards that they do have. Now, if you scroll down here, you can see that we have got some sort of image, which is a by default image provided by Salesforce. So if you see, we have got emergency evacuation route. So if you have seen that there is some sort of very little light in the yellow color, which denotes the boundary of your text. There you get that XYZ. So that is what you get the boundary for each and every element inside your image, and the API also returns you the boundary for that. We will see how the boundaries are getting returned to us. And if you scroll down more here, there's nothing now, and then you just need to select this use the OCR model to detect the text, and we just go to here. You can see we already have got the token 1, the step 1. The step 2 is called the OCR model. So this is the URL that we need to use, the C URL. We have got the method is post, authorization is bearer, our token that we have got already have. Then the sample location. This location accept two kind of things. Either the image URL, you can send the image URL over here, or you can just send the image content in the form of base64 encoded. We will see the both way. And then the model ID, which is OCR model, and then this is the endpoint URL which we need to send in order to get that URL to hit and then get the result. So this is the image that they have referred, and this is the URL for that image. And once they head the API, they get the response like this. The object is predicting a response, then they have got the probabilities. They will return you the in the text in the form of probability. They said that there is a text called route, and the probability is 0.99, which is, we can say that there is something, a text called route exactly present in the text. And then you set the boundary box, the bounding box, or that we have just talked about, those little yellow color line. And then there is again a text called emergency, which is again having the high priority. Then we have evacuation route, the high priority. That's how we get. And then task is text. If we are reading the business card, the task will be contact. And these are the bounding box that we are talking about. So let's quickly see how we can do this inside our Salesforce environment. So for that, we already have a class which I'm going to open that, and the class name is Einstein OCR service. So let's quickly open that class. The class already have some methods, some variables. I'll walk you through one by one, and then we'll see how it is working, and we'll also see the outcome. So we'll talk about Einstein OCR, not OCR response, it is OCR service. So we have got this class. Under this class, we have got the OCR API, which is again having the endpoint that we have just discussed. OCR model is OCR model, and if you are using the table, again the model is going to be same. So I have got various methods here. Read text from by image by URL, read text image by base64. Suppose that you have got a file inside your Salesforce environment, inside a record, you want to read that file, then the method is also there. Then there is a private method which is parsing the response, and that response is using another helper class which is Einstein OCR response. which is nothing. This class has been developed using the response that we have got from this API. We have just taken this response, we have just copied, and then we went to admin booster JSON to Apex. We used that JSON and then developed that class. The name of the class we have given, the parent class name we have given as per our, and then the next thing, rest of the information is given by this JSON. Then we are using this class there. That's it. So that is what we have inside our helper class. The task to store the task. As we have got, there might be multiple probabilities. That is what we have got, the multiple probability class inside a list, and then the bounding box minimum x y z. That is what we have got. So let's quickly talk about the very first method. It is having a sample here. You've got, this is kind of URL, the URL of our JWT diagram, and then we are calling our Einstein API service. The method is image OCR. So we'll quickly see here image OCR the method is. If we'll get back to here, is scroll down, we have got image OCR. We are saying that it is accepting one parameter, which is endpoint, which you are going to hit, sample either the URL or the base64, the model, which is going to be OCR model, and then there are two boolean variables which are going to play the important role here. First is the base64. That means if your sample is in the form of base64 string, then it is going to be true. Otherwise, if you are sending your URL, the image URL, it is going to be false. So if you see here, we are sending the image URL. That's why we said that base64 is false. And then there is one more parameter which is saying that is card. Is card means either we are trying to reach the card. So we said that this is also not a card. We said that it is a false. And then under that we have got another method which is a helper method, which is Einstein API call, and which is here. Okay. So we have got, again we are accepting all the parameters which all the methods are accepting. And then we have got here, and here come the role of our helper class that we have discussed, HTTP form builder. So this class has a method called get content type, and it is returning multi-part by form data. So whenever we are trying to deal with the images or with the content, which is a kind of in the form of zip or in the form of URL in the form of base64, and we are trying to send that data to the third party system, we always use content type as multi-part by form data, and there will be some sort of boundary. So we are just using some static boundary. You can use some other boundary as well, and that is what this method get content type is returning, and we are using that get content type over here. The next thing that we have is we have got the access token. Access token is again the method which is returning the method, reading the file and doing all the steps for us. And then we have got here, we said that form64. Form64 means we are going to send the form in the form of base64 URL, the data to the third party system. There is an string variable where we have stored. And then we have got the write boundary. Write boundary is again a method inside our HTTP form builder. We will see here, we have got, if you scroll down here, we have got the write boundary. So we are going to write the boundaries for each and every element we are sending to the API. So we have written the boundaries. We said that first write the boundaries and then add the model ID, whatever we have got. Then again write the boundaries. And then we said if it is card, if each card is true, then set the task as a contact. That is what our API said. If you go to detect text and entities in a business card, if you go to this API, you will see here, this time we are going to send the task as a contact. That is what we said here. Set the task as a contact. If that is, if we are sending that, we are going to read the card. The variable for is card is true. And then we said that if there is a base64 content, then set the value as a sample base64 content for whatever the sample we are getting. And if this is a simple URL, then set the sample location for the sample over here. So just putting the if else condition, and then based on if else whatever the outcome is there, we are just making the API modifications and preparing the body to send. And then at the end we again write the boundaries, and this time we said that in code HTTP form builder, then we have got ending type is CRLF, and we can just go to here, we have got this there is some sort of What is that? We can say HTTP form builder dot ending type dot crlf. So we have this variable here, ending type and then crlf. That's it. These are some enumeration that we are using for files whenever we are using files to the sending the files to our third party system. And then at the end we have got this body, we have encoded into the base64 form, we stored into the blob variable, and then we also need to send the size of our body if you wanted to. It is an optional parameter. Whatever the body we wanted to send, sometimes we set that content type, the length, whatever the size we have as a length parameter, content length. So this is the request that we are preparing. Again, usually we are using the same, which is HTTP request. We have just created a method here, sorry, the object here. We set the body as a blob because this is not a text body, and then we say that connection, say that keep alive. These all information is coming from here. If you scroll down to the API, you'll get all those information here, like connection keep alive and all. So you just need to make sure that you are sending the connection as a keep alive. The content length that you have just got from here. The content type we have already talked about, multi-part by form data. The method is post, we have seen that into the API. Set timeout, I'm just setting it at the maximum, which is 120 seconds. Authorization is a bearer followed by our access token. We have already said that. The endpoint we are getting, and then we are doing, we're just sending that request over here, and then we are returning response.getBody so that we can pass that, and then we can see the outcome and see the magic over here. So now we have got the overview about the code that we have written. We are going to talk about, we are going to actually see in demo. So just remove this, and now we have got this. The method is text by URL. So we'll say that this is what we have a method. We'll just execute this, and we'll see what we are getting as an outcome. Either there is any error or some sort of success response that we are expecting. So you can see here we have got the response. We got web token, JSON, payload, header, signature, JWT. So every single information about our image which is there inside this URL, our API is able to read that. If I open this image again, I will show you that we have got all the text. We have got all the text here: JWT, header, payload, signature, and then we got JSON web token. So all these texts are here. If you go to your debug log, you find here, you see that all the text are here: web JSON web token, payload, header, signature, JWT. So that is pretty easy for us to read a text instead of putting them in a manual. We can just create a custom object and store all those values there in the custom object. The next thing that we have is, now we have got this base64. If we try to read this in the form of image, how we can do that? So what I will do is I will quickly save this image, and I will save this image, and then we will read this image again. So for that, to save this image, what we will do is I will save that image inside any account, any random account, and then we'll pass that record ID to read the file. So let's quickly scroll down here to the notes and attachment sections, and we can just upload a file here. The file should be uploaded. We have just downloaded. So now we have got the file. Let's copy the record ID of our account record. Go to our developer console. The method is accepting one parameter, which is saying that record ID. Okay, this is the record ID which we have just uploaded the record. Now, in order to get the content of our file, what we usually do, we first need to query the content document link so that we can query the content document link about whatever we have inside that record ID with the help of entity ID, linked entity ID. And then with the help of this content document link, we can query the content version, and then the content version is kind of something which stores the data of our file. So that is what we said. We said that give us the content document link related to this record, and then if there is at least one content document, then get the content version of the very first content document that you have got. We are encoding that data in the form of base64 that we have got here, and then we are sending that data to our API. This time what we said, OCR API, our endpoint, the sample that we have just got, the model, and this time we are sending that base64 is true. That means we are sending a file in the form of base64, and then we say that card is false. We're not sending a card over here. So what we'll do is we'll just quickly go ahead and use this method to read the text, and then we'll see the magic. So let's quickly execute it. So we are here in the debug log. We are just going to see the debug, and then we again got the same information that we have seen earlier with the earlier method. So that's how you can read the text. Similar way, you can just use a card here. You can just say, you can say that it's a true. You can use a card here. So if I uh, open this link into the new tab, okay, it is showing saving the card. We don't have any option to save this. So what we will do is we'll quickly go ahead and go to the contact this time, and open any random contact. So I will upload the file that I've just gotten here. So that file is there under download. This is my text file, which contains the card, the information about, I think we should be uploading a different file, which is this. So let's quickly open this in a new tab. Yeah, this is what we have got. We'll upload a different file instead of that. So let's upload a new file here. We have got this new, and this is the new file that we have just downloaded. So we will download it. I'm sorry, we'll upload this file, and then we'll test this file with the help of our method. So let's go there. Here inside this method, the record ID is going to be passed, and we'll say that base64 is true, and then card is also okay. It should be true as well. So what we are doing is we are reading the file in the form of base64 content, and the file is card. We are reading a card here. So this time we'll replace the ID with the contact ID. We will hit the execute button to see the outcome, and we'll see what we are actually getting. So we have got here, you can see we got this 66 Phillips, the address, and then we got lubricants, Randy E. Cornwell. So if we go there, go back to our card here, you can see these are this is what the text we have, and that is what the text it is reading. So you can easily read your text. You can easily read your text, and this text is also going to tell you what kind of text it is. It is going to give you some sort of label where you say here it is tag is other, and if I go back to the API document, you will see here it is going to show you what kind of tag it is. Either it is a person, that means the person name. It is a kind of other, you can just consider as a address. You might want it to, here you can see it is an address. You can see it is a phone number. Again, it is other phone. The label is phone. You can see it is a mobile phone. So it is actually giving you, it is actually telling you what kind of content it is, and then based on these tags, based on these attributes, you can easily find out in which field of your object you wanted to store the records, you wanted to store the details, and you can easily store those. So that was it for how we can read the image, read the text from the image. The next assignment for you, that is, which is you have to implement the Einstein prediction API. What you need to do here is you need to find out an image, read that image, and then tell the image either it is a cat, it is an elephant, it is a animal, it is a place, Djokovic, or what kind of image you have. You just need to read, and it is going to give you the prediction. And then you also need to do the sentiment analysis of your customers. You can accept any text, and then based on that text, find out what the sentiment is. Either it is a bad, it is a the customer is happy, the customer is not happy, or the customer has no response for that. Customer is kind of okay and okay.